Before we start, let's try to define digital transformation and explore the tight relationship with cloud adoption. I had the privilege over the past few years to advise CIOs and CTOs on their digital and cloud strategy. In most of my engagements, digital is about customer obsession, focusing on the customer and generating value to the customer. Enterprise IT organizations are shifting from information technology or IT to business technology or BT as Forrester describes it. This is disruptive and transformational in nature. It is also enabled and empowered by cloud. So I usually summarize digital transformation as the strategy of business technology, meaning it is adaptive and lean strategy to drive business outcomes and enabled by technology at scale. Cloud platform is the catalyst of the digital transformation that enables and accelerates the value realization of digital transformation. Enterprises are challenged with the digital transformation. Let's go through why is it important, how to transform, and what to transform. Let's start with the why. Digital transformation is imperative for long-term success and viability of any enterprise, regardless of its industry or vertical. This is driven by customer expectation, or I would call it the user experience, in sense of how technology would enable anywhere accessibility of a specific service that is faster, user-friendly, cheaper, and convenient. If you add the continuous change nature and the uncertainty in the market, digital transformation becomes essential not only to thrive, but to survive. To summarize the top 5 drivers for digital transformation. Number 1, customer centricity and delivery of best user experience. Number 2, eliminate waste, add value through more efficient and productive use of technology. Number 3, accelerate time to market and time to value. Number 4, enable new digital business opportunities and increase market share. Number 5, embrace change and embrace uncertainty. As discussed earlier, we are witnessing a tremendous pressure on traditional business models in the new digital era due to uncertainty, high rate of change in conditions, and market dynamics. Large established enterprises are being challenged with the digital startups that deliver enhanced user experience and redefine different industries. There is no doubt that enterprises reach the tipping point where a transformation infinitive will be important for survival. Cloud is recognized as a key enabler or a catalyst to reinvent the enterprises into a modern digital business model. Such transformation requires massive people, culture, and process changes that are as important or more pressing as the technology itself. Enterprise customers are different from startups as they carry a legacy that come from the organic growth and maturity. Enterprise with cloud or digital transformation strategy recognize the fact culture eats strategy for breakfast, quoting here Peter Drucker. I usually get asked by CIOs and CTOs about how. How can I transform? Where do I start? And tell me what is the right mechanisms. Let's cover this in this section. Due to the reasons we described earlier, the adoption of cloud has been growing rapidly by large enterprises. CIOs in such organizations recognize the window of opportunity to rethink the existing IT strategy and leap ahead to drive new leadership style in order to drive business innovation. Cloud adoption is usually the catalyst or an integral part of their strategy. This entails a paradigm shift in the definition of the information technology organization into the business technology organization. Allow me to give you a few examples of what does the shift from information technology or IT to a business technology or BT entails. For example, business processes. Traditionally, it is defined by legal conventions. In the new organization, enterprises are moving toward customer patterns driven by customer data. Another example, security. To limit the exposure, traditional IT organization would mandate an end-to-end control through an on-premise mechanisms to simplify their security operation. In the cloud, a shared responsibility model with an integrating zones of authority and emerging concept of adaptive security and lean GRC to unleash the power of the cloud. Risk is another example. Traditionally, IT has a risk avoidance frameworks where the mechanism through toll gates and controls more waterfall methods to avoid the risk. In the new digital world, empowered by cloud, the focus is shifted to value generating and speed, where the mindset is around agile methods to co-create an options and manage the risk instead of avoiding the risk. Lastly, the governance is another example. In the new world, the shift is towards service-oriented business models where IT is governed by business outcomes compared to governance by fiat in the traditional IT organization. People can make or break transformation. Roughly 75% of undertaking transformations are challenged. A primary driver for transformation failure is unmitigated organization risk across the transformation lifecycle. So the digital transformation and cloud adoptions are very different than any transformation we witnessed before. This is due to the rate of change that makes this transformation may look like a moving target. First thing is to embrace uncertainty and embrace change. Be prepared to deal with ambiguity and develop an innovation culture. Now to the main question of this segment. How an enterprise can achieve the continuous transformation, or as Gartner describes it, the continuous next mode of operation. First of all, each transformation is different than each other. Maturity and readiness of each enterprise is different. Hence, the steps an enterprise takes throughout their journey may be different. Yet, there is a common pattern which we will go through here. To transform your enterprise, it will require a holistic approach where you bring the entire enterprise along the journey, both from a supply and demand point of view. The journey starts by building a lean and adaptive strategy that helps establishing a data-driven innovation culture with a well-defined purpose. The key pillars for this would be: number one, build a business case for a change. Key important thing is to build and communicate your case that is grounded on the defined purpose. Have a clear business challenge that you are addressing with a clear business values, outcomes, or impact. Number two, a stepwise roadmap. Do not try to boil the ocean. Take your moonshot goal or the business challenge that you are addressing and define a stepstone roadmap. It may be helpful to use a framework of your choice to show the steps mapped on impact. There are a few frameworks to map the roadmaps and showing improvement steps versus transformation steps. Number three, continuous transformation framework and a guiding principle. Define a clear guiding principles to empower each team to make their right decisions autonomously. As for a framework, I personally like the simple framework that balances future-proof, minimum viable product and minimizing the technical debt at each iteration. Number four, build your foundational platform. Use cloud platform, on-premise or off-premise, with a product mindset to build your foundation. Do not try to reinvent the wheel. Unleash the power of cloud by offloading architecture to the cloud and focus on what impacts your business. Adopt a product mindset enabled by that foundation. Lastly, nurture innovation culture. It is important to change the culture and facilitate the bias for action and innovation. This could be achieved by establishing trust and psychological safety where the team can feel safe to ask questions and fail without being judged. Encourage continuous learning and think big mindset. Exercise the art of possible, balanced with the reality of feasible. Design thinking and close feedback loop with the right mechanisms to measure, adapt based on real-time data. Understand your data sets, categorize, and develop insights to help you navigate through the journey. To summarize, do not fall into analysis paralysis problem. Just start, launch something, and iterate. Fail fast at lower cost of failure. Analyze, learn, and adapt. Iterate quickly. Next section, we will be discussing in more details around the what to transform with some examples and mechanisms to overcome key failures. Good intentions are not good enough. Having a great purpose nailed down does not guarantee the success. Activate your purpose through mechanisms, frameworks, and guiding principles. Measure success and iterate quickly. Let's get started with the first what. The foundation and a platform thinking. What if you can enable and empower your line of business customers or application owners to have the freedom to consume BigQuery on GCP, deploy on a containers on Anthos at your edge, store object to the S3 buckets at AWS, and innovate on a blockchain from Azure. At the same time, they can consume traditional virtual physical servers as a service from your own private cloud. Imagine they can do this programmatically, consistently, and seamlessly. This is what I mean by build your own cloud platform and treat it as a product. This is the platform thinking and a product mindset adoption. Your cloud platform will have a different domain of services that source through different cloud service provider or your own private cloud. Think about your cloud platform as the activation mechanisms to the multi-cloud strategy. By providing an infrastructure as a code and an API interfaces consistently across the board, your business partners will have the workload mobility they seek, the freedom to innovate without constraints, without compromising on security, and more importantly, have the fit-for-purpose placement of the right workload into the right cloud. Next, we will talk about the financial aspect and the business values of a transformation. What is the value to the business? What are the mechanisms to identify the value? In general concept, the value is defined as the effective balance between quality of the function and the cost. The general rule, we divide the worth of the product or services over its price to get its value. A function is defined as the performance of each element plus its capability. This can be achieved by describing what is it to be accomplished with a verb and noun pair. Another mechanism which is important to address the cost is a unit cost analysis. The basic unit of most of the IT services will require some or all of the following: compute, memory, network, and storage. If I can demonstrate the unit cost of a consumable unit of a CPU, memory, chunk of a network storage in their physical or virtual form, I can quickly come up with a model to show my total cost of consumption. Unit cost analysis is very powerful when combined with the value engineering. It gives you frame of reference comparing apple to apple in terms of effective value of performance capabilities and its cost. So you can show value of the different cloud service providers and or your private cloud. To summarize, use value engineering and unit cost as potential mechanisms to show business value. Please keep in mind two important rules. Rule number one, value is always increased by decreasing cost while maintaining performance for sure. Rule number two, value is increased by enhancing performance, meaning value is not a matter of minimizing cost. We reach the last point that I want to talk about, which is what are the impediments that dilute the transformation effort? Adopting lean and adaptive strategy with decentralized small autonomous teams who practice agile execution to innovate at speed may bring a degree of organization entropy and may be delayed by a social cohesion. Social cohesion is the sense of belonging to the enterprise with a shared objective and values and willingness to participate and share outcome. It is important to have a social cohesion, but if you are driving continuous intended change, wouldn't you want to have an open discussion and address objectively and directly the matters? This is easily addressed through establishing the psychological safety environment that we discussed before, foster an external focused behavior where the team has a healthy debate about the external figure, which is the customer, rather than inward focused tendency. Sincere big challenge can help keeping the level of external focus high. You can see this behavior when you start negotiating between teams or across functions. Usually each team steps into a meeting with their own agenda. My agenda versus your agenda. Failure to negotiate is one of the key impediments in a transformation effort. Ground truth for negotiation balanced with the social cohesion. These are the few examples and mechanisms. Spend time to figure out your own mechanism that fits your own organization. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any question or you want me to deep dive in any specific topic, please leave it in the comments below.